Well, Kate, it is lovely to have you. This has taken us probably 3 or 4 months, as you know, to get you sitting opposite me for this. This is, for those that know Kate well, this is not your natural environment. So you've got a story to tell, and that's why I persisted. I persisted twice in your life. One, to get you to come back to teaching, and the second, to get you to do this, because I think you've got a great story to tell as a mum of 4 boys and having worked at TSS a long time. So thank you for joining us. Firstly, maiden name's Williams, Kate Williams, middle name Elizabeth. So Kate doesn't stand for Katarina or anything, just Kate. It's not boring at all. Kate Elizabeth Williams. So the best part about the podcast is we can go anywhere, and we'll find ourselves back to 2026, but let's go right back to the start. Where was Kate Elizabeth Williams born?
I was born in a small country town which is now Wagga. It's a beautiful country town.
I'm glad you said that, because I'm thinking I should have listened more in geography. I had no idea where that was. I was in Narrabri last Friday, so probably not too far away. Okay, so you're born in a country town. What's your state school? What's your primary school?
I went to a little Catholic school there called St Joseph's. Parents moved to the Gold Coast and started grade 3 at Helensvale.
Elmsvale State School. Mum and dad's names? Margaret and Robert, and one brother,
One younger brother now.
Michael. And so the family of 4 drive up to start a business, or was it work?
No, I think they just wanted to change a better life, I guess. There was in a small country town. My dad worked for telecom at the time. And yeah, so he moved here for work.
So for the kids listening to this that have no idea what telecom was, that's what Telstra used to be. So give me one thing about growing up in it. You can't get any polar opposites than Gold Coast and a country town. What was it about the country positive about growing up in the bush that you loved? What's a memory that you?
Community, I guess. And I always said I'd move back there. I would love that town. It's always still nice to visit, still have family down there. And I used to catch, the bus, like a Greyhound bus. I used to catch that from Helensvale station in the holidays by myself. Would you ever do that with your kids now? And the bus driver would look after you,
Yeah,
drive all night and go to,
get dropped off to family.
and stay with my nan or my aunt on
Wow.
holidays.
And pretty cold in winter, no doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
So primary school, well, you've got 2 primary schools. So let's go Narandra. Have I got that right?
Not remember much, but I know I had lovely teachers.
Okay, awesome. So what was Kate like then, do you think, from P to 3 before you moved? What's Kate Williams like in class?
Yeah. Most of my school reports will say conscientious, but yeah, just pretty quiet and would just put my head down and do whatever I was told to do.
So that's in a safe environment of where you knew everyone. Fast forward, you move to the Gold Coast, mum, dad, relocate with your brother to a brand new school, probably a pretty new school.
It was a very new school in Huntsville, and it was like a country town.
Yeah, it was out in the sticks. Yeah,
It's, massive, but it was a small community, and that's probably what we loved
yeah,
about Huntsville at the time, was it was similar.
yes.
Still know of families, that grew up at that time in Helensvale, and it was a beautiful school.
So is there a difference between Kate in the small country town primary school and here? Was it a knock to the confidence? Was it even more overwhelming coming to a brand new school, new place? Because it's tough for a kid.
No, I think it was, because it was quite small and a good community, like everyone, knew everyone. You'd be out riding your bike, it was just that,
Yeah,
typical 80s lifestyle where
yeah,
you just be, ride your bike to school and all the kids in the neighborhood play together.
yeah.
And yeah, it was pretty quiet and conscientious in classroom
Excellent.
too.
Traffic lights and Macca's in Helensvale back then. It's literally a country town. Wet and wild, a thing back then.
I don't
Must
Kate,
be okay. Going way back, Caves County, absolutely. Yeah, the Commonwealth Games, Matilda. Now she's relocated near the sunny coast. Yeah, so do I.
Helensville got its first McDonald's.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Teenagers were getting, jobs there.
Yeah,
Yeah. But once I got to high school, Wet n Wild was actually where I used to hang out on weekends there.
yeah, it would have been brand new. Well, let's go there. High school. You go start off at Helensvale High. Now, might get too much in your personal life, but your mum and dad separated like mine, probably a similar age. Were you primary school?
End of primary school. So going into high school with, you know, big changes in
Well, I was just about to say it's a big change for you developmentally. It's probably one of life's, hitting those teenage years, going to high school. There's only a couple of big milestones left in life, and one of those is going to high school. What sort of impact did that have on you?
massive impact
Uh,
on me. Um, I had great friends and wanted to go to Helensvale High at the time. We were only the second year through.
oh, brand new foundation. No way.
Yeah.
So when you say new, just year nine. So you go year eight, year seven's not part of high school back then?
Yeah.
Wow. So you go into high school and there's year nines are the seniors.
Yeah.
Wow. That's Lord of the Flies. Became Went on to become principal of the academy. There you go. Mike worked here, as you know, for a long time. So let's talk about that then. What subjects did you gravitate towards then in high school? In a pretty small school, mind you. I don't think the suite would have been overly.
No, but it did have amazing facilities even then, like,
Yeah,
in terms of, manual arts and the kitchens, because it was all brand new.
brand new.
It had pretty good facilities. I think I was probably better at like the languages and the humanities side of things.
Yeah,
But, I loved school. So
yeah, good.
I sort of worked hard.
I'm knowing you very well. You would have been conscientious. You would have worked really hard. I don't think mum and dad getting bad reports was ever going to be a risk. So back to impact on you. Tough time for you and your family. Being the older sister, obviously your brother probably relied a lot on you as well. That's also a time natural in your life. I can't speak for you, but you get your independence young when your parents do separate. Name a teacher, you name Mrs. Sleeman, maybe it's her that had a big impact on you, sort of took you under your where you go then looking for role models, men or women, at those formative years in high school. Stuff not great at home. Who at school became a bit of a mentor for you?
I don't remember. There was a teacher, I think she actually taught home economics, Miss McGrath.
Yeah.
And she was just a lovely teacher. And I also had a Japanese teacher as well, who I really looked up to at the time. And I, it was a difficult time in my life. I ended up with anorexia. And, so school wasn't easy in that sort of grade 9 and 10 years. And then my mum actually asked me if I wanted to move schools. Yeah.
So can you still speak Japanese?
No, I learnt Japanese till the end of grade 12.
Did you really?
Yes.
Took it right the way
I took
through?
it right the way through and cannot speak a word of it now. I can probably count to 10, that's about it.
Unbelievable. So you took it all the way there. It scales very, very well these days. All languages do. So do you ever encourage your boys to study languages?
Well, Jack was actually pretty good at French.
Yeah, there you go.
But then we went to France last holidays for Christmas.
Yeah.
And we were all meeting there, and I couldn't wait for Jack to get there. I thought, "Oh, thank God, this will be
Yeah.
cheese in Jack arrives." And he was useless.
Yeah.
It wasn't any help whatsoever.
That is hilarious. You probably knew more than him. I think these days they just rely on Google Translate. So, and look, again, talking about personal matters is always tricky, but I will ask you, tricky time for a teenager, full stop.
Yeah.
Challenges eating, there's a lot, right? And one of the things you can control is what you do. And part of that is what you eat and what you don't eat. How was that for you? Looking back now, what would you say to yourself as a 14-year-old girl, having been through that?
Why you put so much pressure on yourself?
Yeah. And the pressure then came from where?
Well, definitely not from my
Mm.
parents. I guess I've always been someone who doesn't like change, and yeah, it was a way of control, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing. And again, it quite personal matters. So if anyone is listening to this that is dealing with it, yeah, yeah. So, and again, so thank you for sharing that. And then if life's not challenging enough for a teenager, changing schools again to St. Hilda's. So let's talk about that. How did it come about?
Well, my mum just sort of asked me after, a lot of conversations, would you like to change schools? And we didn't have a lot of money. My brother went to A.B. Patterson.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of friends from primary school that had gone there. I think that was the first year AB opened. But I did have close friends at Helensvale. But I knew something had to change. And um, for some reason, I really liked the idea of that. And look, I was so lucky. I had the loveliest year group.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, starting at a new school in grade
I
11,
was going to ask, year 11. Okay.
I mean, could have gone either way.
100%.
But all the girls were just so wonderful. And although there were different groups of friends, it wasn't a really cliquey.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just never looked back. I loved it from day one. And I loved that it was, sounds so stupid, but like, I guess cool, or it was a positive to be, to try hard in class,
Yeah.
to get involved, or
It's okay to do well. Yeah.
I just love being around normal girls that, that ate whatever.
Yeah.
Got yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
A lot of those girls you went to school with, the parents, let's name a couple of girls that lifted you when you went to school,
Very
accepted you.
August, who is mates now, and Christy Jennings and Liv Jones. I have to think now because I'm sort of used to saying their married names. But they were
Exactly.
names, yeah. And we've started catching up again.
How good's that?
Yeah.
It's awesome. The problem with naming names is then you don't name others and they get upset. But shout out to those three that looked after you and looked out for you when you first started, because that's a big part of school, is feeling accepted. And it's your greatest fear at that age. So you jump around schools, jump into high school, things are looking really positive for you now. When does education cross your mind? Because we're getting close to the end of school. Had you stayed at Helensvale, you literally would have been the second year to ever graduate there. Instead, you go to St Hilda's and you were the 190 something year. Yeah, awesome. When does education, or well, I guess tertiary studies, but then
I was always interested in teaching.
always anything else?
I think I had accounting as my second option, which my husband now finds hilarious. Anytime I have to do any budgeting for school, he's like, "Who put you in charge?"
Shout out Price. We'll get to Price soon. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was always interested in being a teacher, and I think in those days we did, those surveys and questionnaires, whatever, to find what you
Yeah.
wanted to. So yeah, I did primary school teaching.
So just that's what you wanted to do. And I should know this, Griffith or Griffith. So you stayed on the coast then to study, lived at home for those years?
In Union, lived with Liv
Okay.
for a couple of years, and then moved home at various times to save money and
Yeah.
whatever it was.
Yeah, exactly. And fortunately, there's no social media evidence and proof of anything you guys got up to during university. So then you finish at Griffith straight. Where's your first teaching job?
I did all my pracs, well, a lot of my pracs at TSS
Yeah.
Year, actually, and loved it. When you get your first assignment, and I got, grade 1 at TSS Prep, I was like, "God, all those coming for this." But I just loved it.
Loved it.
Loved the school, had great mentor teachers. I think Brenda Parrotstone's my first
Yeah.
Olivia Lee, when she came, Olivia Hurley, did a lot of pracs with her. Jerry Hawes.
Wow, we're going way back, aren't we?
I did. I had just great mentors there. So I did a lot of pracs at
Yeah.
but it's always good to go and, you know, have a job somewhere
For
else.
sure.
Yeah. My first job was actually at Rivermount College at Yatla.
Well, that would have been pretty new.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it was.
nearly brand new. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, great staff. And I learnt a lot there. I had a
Wow.
wonderful boss and great collegial stuff.
Any temptation to go bush, given you grew up there and clearly there's a soft spot? I should have mentioned before that whenever I hear the First Nations talk about country, it really makes me think about growing up. And when I feel like when I go back to Emerald, it feels like home. Hearing your voice when you talked about where you grew up, when you go back there, that does, in a strange way, feels a little bit like home. Was there any draw back to possibly not New South Wales, being trained in Queensland, to head bush?
I did get offered a position at Glennie at the same time.
Yep.
Not that that's bush.
Oh, it's pretty close too back then.
Yeah, I often wondered what would
Yeah. Sliding doors.
Yeah, no, I've always been a bit of a homebody.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Rivermount sort of made sense.
So Rivermount, TSS, or is there anything in between?
And TSS.
What year are we talking here?
I think I came back to TSS in maybe 2001 or 2002.
Okay. And so when does Kate Williams become Kate Gallie? Where do you meet Price?
So Price in 2004.
2004, you guys met Brisbane?
Yeah, we were both living in Brisbane at the time. I guess that was sort of my stepbrothers at the time. My
Yeah.
partner's sons were TSS old boys, and they were best mates with Price. Yeah,
Same grade at school?
same grade at school, still very good mates.
Yeah.
And they were always, a bit older than me.
Yeah.
So, I always had a bit of a crush on Price, but he was a bit older than me. And then I think it was Ashley's Bucks weekend, and I'd sort of said to my stepdad, "Find out if Price is, get he's got a girlfriend, but don't say anything, And Bill, be, not subtle,
Yeah.
whatever, way, said, "Oh, Gal, you see anyone, Kate's living in Brisbane now." And yeah, and then we were put on the same table at their wedding.
There you go. Of course you were.
Yeah. Mm.
Rest is history.
Yeah.
Wow. Long locks, blonde locks back then. Price Gallie playing at uni. Is he a doctor at that stage? Close to?
Close to, still studying.
Okay. And so you always wanted to be a teacher. Was Price always medicine? I should know. He's a bit older than us, but
Yeah.
is he straight medicine?
Or something at some stage, but no, medicine.
Straight into medicine. Found his feet. So he's a doctor when you guys meet or close to?
Yeah, I think he was on a training program.
Yeah. So you're living in Brisbane, he becomes a doctor, you're at Rivermount. How do you end up moving to the coast?
Price had one of his, so they moved somewhere different every year and then on the training program. Mhm. So I was lucky we went together when he was in Townsville. So he'd been in Townsville. I think he was at Redcliffe when we first met. And then he got a year at Gold Coast.
Yep.
And I just sort of would go between. My brother was living in a unit at Main Beach. And so I'd sort of just go between.
Yeah.
I had a place in Brisbane and yeah.
All right. So you somehow get land, whether this is timetable lottery or not, you end up teaching with Lindsay Close. Now, for those listening to this that may know, way back then, any female he worked with fell pregnant to a point where people wouldn't work with him. Like there's literally people refusing to work with Lindsay Close. Shout out Lindsay, still works here to do supplies. He transitions to retirement. But you were like, I'm going to guess and say it's about 3 or 4 years running, someone in the teaching team, and you were just in the middle of a vortex of about 7 years straight for Lindsay. So he was getting quite proud of himself and the record. So you probably, so I'm thinking Jed, born about 2006. So you've done about 5 years teaching by that stage. Yeah.
We got married in 2000 chapel, and then Price sort of finished at the end of that year his training, and a lot of them go and get fellowships overseas to sort of subspecialize.
Yeah.
So we moved to England and then Canada so that he could
Wow.
get fellowships. Yeah.
So does the fellowships, okay, pregnant when you get home, how does the teacher that's been teaching 5 years, when you eventually come back into teaching, how did laying eyes on Jed for the first time change you as a teacher?
I think, and I've said it, and it's nothing against people who don't have kids, but I think I was a better mum from being a teacher, but I was a better teacher from
Yeah.
being a mum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a game changer.
Yeah, I think you just realise that everyone just wants the best for their kids.
Yeah, for sure. Now, a lot of parents are going to listen to this. So you have Jed, then you decide, I'm going to have a girl. So we'll go pretty much back to back so you don't get a full night's sleep. I always said to Zoe, I get a full night's sleep in here when I'm having another child. So you got to have I'm guessing a girl or a boy, and you have twins.
Yeah.
And Jed's one?
Yeah.
One.
Yes, months older than I had twins.
When the twins are born, so you go, Jed, Jack, Max. How is life?
There's a lot of time I can't remember.
Just a blur.
In survival.
You're in survival mode. So Price, I'm guessing, brand new doctor, he's working
Yes.
ridiculous hours.
So he was, yeah.
Just
I
say,
didn't have help at home. Yeah. Then my mum wasn't well at the time.
yeah,
So, my brother would call in if he knew that I was, if Price, he knew
yeah.
he'd come and help me far.
Oh, that's nice. Good on him. Yeah, that's awesome. No, you don't have to.
No.
That's just love. Oh, that's brilliant. So then the boys, are waking each other up at night, I'm assuming, the twins. You
So
just,
for a long time, they were in the same because Jed was still
yeah,
and then it got to the point where we needed to separate them, so we had to put Jen in a bed and he would,
he'd wake up, come wake you.
Price would just wake up some nights and Jen would be standing, at the bed beside him.
How many nights do you think in that first year of the twins being born you didn't sleep? Like no sleep whatsoever? A lot.
Yeah.
Like half?
Yeah.
And when you were asleep?
If the twins needed to feed in the middle of the night, I would wake them both up and just feed both of them.
Just, yeah.
Otherwise, you just have to.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, we just were very structured.
Yeah.
I know it sounds very boring, but it helped me survive
Yeah.
by having a routine and having structure.
Did you realise how resilient human beings can be when they have to be? Yeah. So if that's not enough torture, you then decide to go again. And I'm assuming, I made a facetious joke about having a go. You're probably hoping, come on, be a girl. And you have Drew. I know.
I think it's what everyone else says.
Yeah. You wouldn't have cared. No, you just want a healthy kid, right?
I'm a girl. And
Yeah.
we didn't have any friends that just had all one sex. It never occurred
Yeah.
to me that would happen. I know that.
For sure.
So Price convinced me to find out what we were having,
Right.
and we didn't tell anyone. I was quite upset when I first.
You had time to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was good. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
glad because it was what everyone else was saying. And at the end of the day, you just want a healthy,
Of course. Absolutely. And
loving boys. And
of course.
even after the fact that people would say, "Oh, you're going to go again to get a girl?" I just think, what a bit like somehow boys were inferior sex. I just
loved it.
being
Well, we're going to talk a bit about that. But Drew, there's a bit of a gap between the twins and Drew. A couple of 3 years.
So I've had 4 over 4.
Yeah, so it's still hectic. And Jed's not at school when Drew's born. No, not even preschool. Far out.
They were all sort of going to kinder, yeah, and
Yeah.
stuff. But also your days are your own. Then you're not under any pressure to get them to school. Which I get.
Yeah.
Although it was busy, our days were our own. I found it easy to get up and do something.
Get stuff done.
Out for the mornings and meet. I still remember meeting Amy Staples.
Yeah. There you go.
At Bud's Beach every Wednesday morning, and
so fast forward, all 4 of those boys aren't living at home at the moment. It just blows my mind that you must be sleeping like 18 hours a day to make up for like half a year of no sleep or for a consecutive couple of years. So, all right, what have you learnt about men and boys? You have a father in your life, albeit mum and dad separate quite young. Michael, you've had to look after him. You marry Price. You've got 2 stepbrothers. They're probably the closest males in your life at that stage. They're probably all you know. What do you learn about boys as a mum of 4?
I think boys are fairly simple, really. As long as they're well fed and
It's a pretty simple recipe, isn't it?
careful.
Yeah. Yeah. The first, let's call them fights. The first one you saw in your own living room, did it shock you? Everything. Yeah.
Everything is just rough and tumble. And even now,
Yeah.
the boys will show me funny videos they've recorded on my phone of them, doing such
Yeah.
stuff. And I'll think, when was I? Was I even present? Was I?
Of course you were. And even if you are, you're not going to stop it. Yeah.
Creating bike ramps or jumping off the
Yeah.
trampoline, like made flying foxes out of the trees. Yeah.
I vividly remember Drew losing his front baby teeth. So what was that an accident? Was it? He say up until he got his adult teeth, he had.
We were moving house, and I think we were having a garage sale, and we moved the pram inside so that it wasn't for sale. And he climbed up on it, and then it fell and smashed both front teeth, and they had to come out. He didn't break them, but they both went.
Yeah.
So yes, he looked like a
Classic. It was just Drew. That's all. My memories of Drew are just him with no teeth. Yeah, well, speaking of videos, I've got a couple of crackers of Mac and Drew's young kids I'll bring out at graduation. Can't wait for that.
There is some crap with that.
So life goes pretty quickly. We'll talk. So for those listening, I absolutely hounded you because you're an amazing educator, and at some point, life settles right down, and you probably weren't even considering going back to work. In fact, you probably didn't need to. Price's career is going really well, and I just hounded you to come back and work. Partly because you can then be part of the boys' life, but the boys are pretty much all back at school. How was re-entering the workforce with 4 kids and a busy husband and then a busy life of yours?
I tried other things, I think I was always someone who liked to be busy.
Yeah.
And when you kept asking me, I really didn't know if I think I'd lost confidence in my own ability to do it. And I'm so grateful to you for asking me a number of times because it changed my life.
Yeah. Well, we're grateful for you saying yes because, I mean, teaching's teaching. Anyone can come and teach. There's a gift to connecting and teaching. And this school just there's something about this place. You can't really explain it, but when you give to it, it gives so much back. And you're just one of those people that's always given. And not only that, you're now in a leadership role in the school. So you're giving way more than you needed to for us. And I've always appreciated you coming back. And I hope it allowed you to then see the boys in their environment. There's all this research about boys and girls in families and the order that they sit in, the chronological order and different traits eldest have and youngest have. This is totally on the spot. Having now, these boys are growing and going on to do great things. Drew's still at school, but give me something about Jed. What's his best trait? Something that just impresses you. You go, whether you taught it or not, you just go, wow, I'm just so proud of you for.
I'm proud of all my boys.
You are.
Jed's very humble. Actually, they're all very humble.
Who do you reckon he gets that from? I think you're both pretty humble.
And he's very kind.
Yeah,
And he's got this quiet determination.
he does.
His card's pretty close to his chest, but I know when he wants to do something, he'll work really hard about it and he won't be loud about it. He'll
Yeah.
just do it in his own way.
Yeah. He's dangerous. He's just got that determination that is unbelievable. But what I love about Jed is he doesn't knock people out of the way to get where he's going. And a lot of teenage boys particularly will no hesitation in pushing people, not physically pushing them out, but get where they want to go.
What's up?
He definitely does. All right, so the twins go to New South Wales together. So there was all sorts of options. They were going to split and they ended up back together at University of New South Wales. Something about Jack you're really proud of.
Jack's, very humble as well, very kind, extremely empathetic, and really thoughtful.
I love
I know that he'll probably be the one to look after me.
Yeah.
But he always calls and checks in. And he's just really thoughtful of other people, and he can chat to anyone.
That's awesome. That's lovely words about Jack. What about his twin brother, Max, Kate?
Yeah. Max has only just gone back to uni, actually, and I really miss having him around. He's got a great sense of humour, and he's just a good person to be around and to have around. And he's also really loyal and honest.
Well, that is a really nice thing to say about a son. It's a good trait to have. And what about Drew, the baby, or Drew? What's something you love about?
Baby about. He's going to end up
definitely nothing. Is he the tallest yet?
Not quite. He hasn't quite got Max. Drew's got great energy.
He's got good energy. Yeah. Yes,
and he does bring the positivity, and I miss him being at home. He's also got great determination, and he's a really good mate to other boys.
He's a very good mate, and I appreciate how good a mate he's been to my son, Mac.
I hate saying it, but he's probably gives the best hugs too.
Well, that's nice. That's a lovely thing to say about your son as well. Who's most like you out of those 4?
I think they've all got parts of Price and I.
So who's most like Price then?
I think they've all got lots of parts of Price in them, thank goodness. And Price has always been a great dad. He's always been very present and, a very supportive husband as well. I think he's instilled in them a great work ethic. They work really hard, and they know when to push themselves. Price has taught them that, and to help other people. Price has always, he always puts other people before himself, and if they learn that from him, then I'm pretty proud of them. And I know what makes me most proud, I guess, of my boys is I know they'll always be there for each other, and they'll always show up for each other.
Bryce Gallie, I hope you listen to this, because if there's a wife out there could say anything about a husband, it's those things. So, well done, Bryce. So you had two very accomplished rowers. You had a footballer in there.
Yes.
And you've got, they're all amazing athletes. We'll get to that in a second. And Drew's he's just a jack of all trade. He's just incredible. Probably a bit of a soft spot from Dad, being the one that's really loving his rugby as well. How was that night for you and Price watching our 4x4 win, and 3 of them are Gallies?
I always get nervous
Do you?
in any sport. And I don't know why. It's not like I was good at any sport, but I think that was probably the favourite thing
Good stuff.
for me watching, because they were doing it together with, one of Jed's best mates, Max.
Yeah, that was pretty special. Far
Yeah, it was really
amazing.
fun.
That'll never happen again in a GPS school, let alone TSS. Yeah. They could have snuck into the all age, but that was incredible. And congratulations for all the boys. They've been phenomenal. Jed, almost by a shave, the best crew in the country. And at least there was technology on the line to prove it. But you learned, absolutely you do. Yeah. And you watched 3 Head of the Rivers consecutively, all winning sons in those crews, 2 for Jed and 1 for Max. That's phenomenal. Then Henley, what was that like for you?
What an experience.
Unbelievable.
So special.
Just so special.
But aside from that, the English just do those things. So
They do.
Wherever you're watching around the world, welcome if you're up super early from Southport in Australia on the Gold Coast there, rowing on the Nerang River up in Queensland. Here we're looking at Eton, very local. So this is Eton College against the Southport School from Queensland, Australia. So come from a couple of miles or come from halfway around the planet to race here, Henley.
Attention! Go!
And I hope they stick to it. Like Wimbledon, I use the example of Wimbledon staying in whites. They're so traditional and they cop it for it, but it makes the things like Henley, the way they do cricket, the way they do Wimbledon, it's unbelievable.
yeah, it's really sweet.
Yeah, just to watch your son.
Families was
Yeah.
very long.
So there'll be lots of parents listening to this whose kids play sport, some better than others. What's a piece of advice, having now watched a lot of high level sport, as a parent, your advice for a son or a daughter who's trying to achieve something that's pretty special, albeit Henley or a football premiership or a 4x4? What's something as a parent you've learnt that?
I think no pressure. And just be there to, watch and support them and, feed them or, give them encouragement. There'll be the wins and there'll be the losses, but I've always just enjoyed watching them and I hope the boys haven't felt any pressure from Price or I, because we just loved watching it.
Yeah. There's loving watching it and there's also feeling nauseous, like far out. I don't know how you do it. Well, of course, you love the celebration, win, lose or draw, but it's I don't know how you do it. I every year, and we've won a few Head of the Rivers now, I still feel the same nausea driving in. I see the water. Yeah, to do their best. Yeah. And I do say to the boys here when they're going off in the first 8 or the first 15, there's no part of me that just ever wants to say, well, we've got to win. I've never been that kind of person. What I'd love to be able to say at the end is, geez, we're hard to beat.
Yes.
And if we're hard to beat, then someone's got to win. And I look at that first 15 game on the weekend. They had to work hard to beat us, Ipswich. And it's gut-wrenching, but we've given it everything. And I know that you as a parent would be no different. You and Price, had they lost that 4x4 or that Head of the River, you've got to pick them up. Absolutely. It's lovely to win, but there's a real toughness about your boys. And I guess they've been part of teams with that little strong underbelly to be really competitive.
Yes.
But hopefully then they take that on through life, which we'll talk about now, which is Jed and Princeton. How did that come about?
Princeton University, a research university with a special commitment to teaching, where scholars and students learn from the past and look into the future, where students of many backgrounds prepare for leadership and lives of service, where more than half the student body receives aid and grants, not loans. A university of excellence in athletics, the arts, and in all that it does. Princeton University, in the nation's service and the service of humanity.
It's all Jed. We had very little to do with it. Of course, we coached him if he wanted to do it. He was very lucky to have Helen Cleary.
She's amazing. Shout out, Helen. You are amazing if you're listening to this.
They basically helped him through the whole process.
Yeah.
He was, I think rowing coaches reached out to him. And then I think it wasn't until after Henley that he really thought, actually, this is something I'm interested in.
Career in it.
Yeah. And the Brown guy and Princeton guys were both over there at the time. And then he went and visited 3 of the unis, and Price went with him.
I was going to ask, did you go? Just Price?
Just Price did. And then to Brown to Princeton.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you don't go to Princeton until you're dropping your son off.
But I'm glad I got to
Absolutely.
just to see what it was like. I mean, it's amazing.
It's incredible. So there's going to be some parents listening to this whose boys are thinking about US colleges. How does that? Of course, you want the best for your son, and he's built this incredible opportunity to be considered to go. How's that for a mum?
I've always wanted my boys to live a big life,
Yeah.
yes, and you can always come home.
Yeah.
You know, if it doesn't work out, always come home. Nothing much.
Yeah.
Gold Coast.
Yeah,
I think one of my regrets is not even going to college or
you're going beyond Griffith. Yeah, life is great on the Gold Coast, but yeah. So what about as a mum who hadn't sent their son to boarding school, the thought of not seeing your son for 3, 4, 5 months? Yeah, I'll bet.
And I didn't realise how hard it hit me until we left him.
You flew back.
All my eyes out with him, said goodbye. And I didn't feel too bad because his other roommates' parents were all crying. And they
Awful.
down the road.
Yeah, oh, you're kidding me.
And he got priced. So I felt like
Okay.
and that was fine until we hopped on the plane. And then I just
The reality kicked in. Long flight home.
yes.
You probably got as much sleep on that flight as you got in your first year.
I
Of,
guess for these days, it's not like
Yeah.
getting a fax once a month or something like that. We speak,
yeah.
often. And
Is he pretty good at staying in touch?
he got better.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And of course, their summer break so long. He's been home for 3 months.
Still home?
Still home.
That's amazing.
He's back in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that'll be tough.
Too.
Yeah.
We had the opportunity in term 2 to go over and visit him.
Yes.
Some of the races.
Yeah.
And we took out all the first year rowers out to dinner one night.
I heard.
They're just a great bunch of young men, and I know that's where he needs to be.
And they're competing well. They're happy with where they are.
Strong. And he could think it's a really tight boat shed, and
What an experience. And then you nearly had Jack at one stage was considering. Had 2 boards. Were you quietly just fingers crossed, stay close to home, or you're okay? Yeah.
He wanted to, of course.
Yeah.
Look, I'm glad they both ended up in Sydney.
Yeah.
I find it surprising in that they've never really relied on each other, but they've ended up at the same college doing the same course. I don't even know if people down there know they're twins, but, because they don't look alike. Man, I think it's nice, knowing that they've got each other.
Oh, it's awesome. So good. And Jed's got no one over there. So I thought it can't all be serious conversation. We're going really well, actually. I can't believe we're at Princeton already. I did a little bit of homework. I've prepped you up for this. Haven't told you the names, but I always do some kind of fun little game during the interviews. So yours is elimination, which I've played a few times with a couple of the participants. So I give you 2 names. You have to eliminate one. The one that stays in goes up against the next name. So you're going to come up with Kate Gallie's favourite alumni from Princeton. There's some big names here. First one's a little controversial. There's been some good ones from University of New South Wales. So JFK went to Princeton, but he got really sick, so he had to pull out and then recovered and ended up going across to Harvard. Because he went there, I'm going to include JFK. So the first two names, I can't believe some of these people, JFK and Jeff Bezos, who's the CEO and founder of Amazon. You've got to eliminate one of those.
I think I'll go with JFK.
Okay, so JFK, poor old Jeff, shout out to, I think he's one of the richest people on the planet. So JFK goes up against Brooke Shields. Now, we're going to show our age here. Some of the kids listening to who is Brooke Shields? Google her.
Shields, because when you stay at the hotel at Princeton, the room keys are the student ID.
There you go. That's cool.
And I had Shields.
No way. There's a little bit of serendipitous about that. So JFK goes, how can you eliminate Brooke after that? Of course you are. Married to Andre Agassi for a while there, so former model and actor for the kids at home. Okay, so Brooke Shields goes up. Now, you won't know the name, but you will know the book. Brooke Shields goes up against Francis, although he doesn't refer to being called Francis Scott Fitzgerald, the author of The Great Gatsby. And he also wrote the short story, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, that later became a movie. Pretty impressive alumni, I've got to say. So Brooke Shields.
I don't want to sound shallow, but I'm going to stay with Brooke Shields.
Just me. Whoa, this is you. This one's going to be tough, okay? And I had no idea she went there, but Brooke Shields now goes up against former First Lady of the US, Michelle Obama. I thought she might, and I think she has a win here because the last name is David Duchovny, which it was the guy out of X-Files. Michelle, I thought we'd land there, and I'm pretty happy with that. That's amazing. You didn't get her key? Price maybe got her key.
No, I'm hoping maybe one day she'll do it, the graduation speech or something.
That would be cool. Let's write a letter or something. Although I tell you what, Obama's the best orator I've ever heard. Oh, God, he was good. And here we are celebrating 125 years at TSS. Princeton founded October 22, 1746. Wow. So the history in those walls, my God. Wow. So well done. Brooke Shields got a good run there. Let's quick shout out to a couple of names at University of New South Wales, founded in 1949. I was feels like it hasn't even reached puberty yet compared to Princeton. Scott Morrison, former PM, Bob Carr, former Premier of New South Wales, Rebel Wilson, actor, and Simon Baker, the guy he did a lot of the Tim, which Mac's been watching a lot recently. I have no idea why, but Simon Baker went there. So a couple of pretty good. I imagine we'll be throwing a Gallie on that list at some stage. All right, so you've had 3 boys graduate from TSS. You've got 1 to go, and the years are flying by. What do you miss most about having all the boys at home? I should have said Drew's in boarding now, so he spends a lot of time. Yeah.
Gone from such a loud house and must know quite boring. So he just loves
Just the interaction. He loves it. He's an extrovert. He is, yeah. What do you miss most about the boys at home?
I really miss dinner time.
Yeah.
Yeah. We would always, have really lovely conversations around the table at dinner.
Yeah.
And just, I really treasure those moments. So it was really nice having them all back during the holidays and just having those dinners together. And the laughter.
Yeah.
We headed over to Stratty while they were all back one weekend. The first night everyone was back actually. And we're just heading over to the beach in the truck, and the boys was in the back of the tray. And we could just hear Drew's cackling when Drew gets it, when he's laughing.
When he gets going.
And Price and I looked at each other and thought, isn't that nice? Just,
how good. You miss that. Isn't it amazing the thing you miss are the most simple things? And I think.
I really miss being, like you said, being teaching here.
Yeah.
And now that they've all gone, I really underestimated how nice it was being a part of their world.
Yeah.
And not that I saw them often.
No, but even assemblies, just incidental moments. Yeah.
We'd be able to tell stories about all the things that were happening here, and Price wouldn't have any idea, but we have a good laugh.
Have a good laugh.
Just, sharing.
Yeah, that's lovely. It is very special. And those moments I think the dinner table will be the thing I miss the most when my kids are all through. And I don't know if with you guys if it was intentional, but ours was never intentional, but we try to sit down and have dinner every night. Quick question then. Any girls at the table for you? No? Yeah.
Jed has a lovely girlfriend.
Aussie. She's Aussie?
States as well. Yes.
Aussie, but in America.
Yes.
Okay.
She was from the coast and she went to Minnesota for tennis. So she's back here at the moment as well. So it is nice that he's
Yeah.
not too far away as well.
Yeah.
And Jack's met a lovely girl in Sydney as well.
Bring some girl power to that table. Oh, good.
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Like text or how do we do it these days? Oh, good. So you found that second hand. All right, that's even worse. It'd be nice for you to have a little bit of balance around that table. It's been all boys for a long time. What's your favourite meal to put on that table?
Mine and Max can be pretty fussy eaters. We always just like a barbecue always goes down well.
Yeah.
A steak dinner goes down well. You know, the boys will Jen and Jack will always request Price's fried rice, and they'll probably request my, spare bolognese or meat goose.
So nice and simple.
Very simple boy.
All right, quickly back to Stratty for a moment. Don't want to lose that one. Key to catching a good beach worm because you're a guru. Patience. What's the bait? What bait do you use? Do you use pippies?
Or you can, bit of chicken. Or actually, the best is like, fish skeletons.
And just waving across the top. Who taught you that, Bill? Amazing. And so you got the house at Stratty still?
Yes. So, we've been going there for a long time.
Yeah. Well, we were lucky with our vintage because lots of families had places over there. It's just a cool place to go, and they're now taking their own children. So it's full second generation. It's amazing. It's a great place to go. Yeah. Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think our school boys here appreciate how lucky they are to have our campsite at Stratty. It's so unique. It really is. Pretty impressive. It is. It really is. So on that, and you are, let's call it director of year 7, head of year 7. That's a really, really important year for our school because we have a chunk of boys come from the prep school. And as you know, primary and secondary education are very different, but our year 7 model is as close to primary as it can be. A bunch of new boys come boarding. Some of those have never sat in a classroom before. We have a lot of boys come locally. We have a lot of interstate people come up. Naturally, the Gold Coast is pretty transient. What is your advice for a boy entering year 7 to make from year 7 to 12 a success? Having worked here for a long time, having had boys through this program, what's one or two things, a piece of advice for a new boy coming into year 7 that would help them on their journey?
So we like all the boys to come in and get into good habits and feel like they belong here. So I always, when I'm speaking to the boys in those first couple of weeks, it's to get involved. That's the quickest way to meet new people, and it doesn't matter what you sign up for. Try a bit of everything in grade 7. There's nothing wrong with being a multi-sport kid, as people say.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I always tell them, and I think it's the piece of advice you give the boys is just to be themselves. The right people, will find them.
Of course, you find your people. Yeah,
They're just themselves and try and be someone that.
I know. It's so easy to say it in my late 40s, but to going back to high school and how you just want to conform is such a hard thing at that age. So if they can be brave and courageous and just be them, and some people, it's not.
Just they need a few reminders of that.
Of course, yeah.
Those boys that do, you can see the other boys just because they love that individuality.
Absolutely. They often, the kids who are sometimes a bit left of centre almost become cult figures. They just add something different to our school. It'd be a great shame if we're all just kind of that vanilla, sit in the same, C+ to B+ range and play Bs or C sport and not really, challenge ourselves above or beyond that.
I always get the senior boys to sort of offer them some advice. They always say, get involved in water sports. They always say, get to know the boarders and boarders to get to know the day boys because they wish they had got
exactly. Yeah.
And they always say, be yourself. So I think the boys get it right.
I hope so. They do most of the time. So that's the student side. What do you say to an incoming parent? Now, this has some gravity because you've raised 4 boys, you've worked with us for a long time, married to an old boy. That's some pressure. What's some advice for a parent? Because it's hard, Kate.
It is hard.
It's really hard. And there are tough days and you've got to pick, if you picked all your boys up when leadership or team that hasn't gone their way, but you've seen the journey and you understand the big picture, the long game, all those things. What's something you'd love to be able to say to a new parent?
when the parents come to that parent information night, I give them my 7 tips.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I didn't come up with those on my own. I actually asked other friends, some of those tips. I have friends that are great mums, and so it's nice to.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's natural for parents to want to make life better for your kids or smooth the path.
Yeah.
I think you're doing them a disservice if you. Sometimes it's good not to make things better. I think when there's, my boys haven't always got the marks they wanted to get or made the team they wanted to make, but if you just get out of their way and, say, show that you care,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
but let them deal with it. That's where the learning takes place.
It is.
You build resilience, uh, toughen them up a bit.
It is hard. In our Australian life's pretty comfortable.
Yes.
And you don't ever want your kids to be upset, but it is sadly part of life.
Yeah.
It's
But also to be someone that doesn't give up.
Yeah.
And everyone deserves to have someone be on their team and believe that better days are just ahead in those months.
Yeah.
And to have, to have some boundaries. I think sometimes it's easy when kids get
Yeah.
high school to think the job's done.
Yeah,
Very
exactly.
far from it.
Yeah.
So I think to have boundaries and to show them that you care, but also let them have the struggles at
Yeah.
those times.
100%.
Yeah.
Now, all of that stuff's about everyone else. I'm going to ask you a question. I don't think you'll be able to answer it. And you're a very emotionally invested human being. I can tell, even just you talking about new boys coming to school and parents, your eyes are watering up, talking about your own kids, but that's because you care, right? And if that's all a teacher offers, that's like the best. The rest takes care of itself, the maths, the science. Toughest question I'll ask. What are you most proud of that you've brought to TSS? Oh, I know. I had to ask it. I know what the answer is, but I'd love from your perspective, and your answer will be, well, I haven't brought anything to the table. That's exactly what you'll say when you have whether it's teaching, whether it's connection, whether it's just giving us 4 amazing boys or a council member.
Well, I would hope both like I work in the best staff room in school.
You do.
I'm very lucky. I would hope that the people I work with and that the boys would say that I'm someone who cares, that I'm kind, that I'm empathetic, and that I'm a team player.
Yeah. Well, what a great summary. All right. It's really important for boys to have male role models. And I apologise for all the females you work with. I'm going to throw 3 names at you. And I just want you to tell me the first thing that comes to your head. Peach.
Oh, it's a legend.
Flats.
I've ever worked with someone who's just, you can imagine what he would be like if he was on your team.
Wouldn't you just love to be on his team? Yeah. Yeah. Legend. Well done.
We need a picker.
Yep.
Yeah.
Always got a little nugget of advice as well when you need it. It's any wonder his basketball teams are so successful.
First couple of years.
Yeah. Did you never get sick of it? No. Yeah, even his teams here, but even the work he does with adults, they're still successful. Even his team that won the other night, the old boys, there's 5 old boys in the team. It was the best game ever. I sat up the back and they were just like, we just win here. We just keep winning here. It's amazing. All right, Slats.
What a professional. Yeah. And he's one of the best educators I've ever worked with.
Awesome. Well, I hope he listens to this. Are we?
Oh, he's a great person to have on your team as well. I think that's what's special about the Year 7 team is we all know, we're all professionals.
Yeah.
We work hard, but we can also have a laugh.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And, Owen has been a great addition to the Year 7 team. He is wonderful to the boys. The boys really respect him.
They do. He's outstanding. Now, those 3 guys have been on your team for a while. Louis he's relatively new. So I said, I'll give you 3 names, but Louis, got anything for Louis? Yeah, he has been a good addition.
And he's a very hard worker and he has high standards for himself. And I like that he expects that of the boys too.
That's good. And he's about to know he's alive because he's about to become a dad. So I hope all goes well with the family, but he will know he is alive.
Yes.
And when he comes in complaining he's had no sleep, you'll be able to say, sorry, I had 15 years of that.
We already have it with Reese coming in.
Yeah.
Reese brings his breakfast in.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, don't speak to me. I just need 10 minutes of quiet.
Just been there, done. You almost come to work to have a rest. Hey? All right, bring up some emotion in you, but I love your car. And I walk past it and someone's put a dent in it. Who did the dent?
I know, right? I didn't notice.
Someone's rubbed.
Yeah.
No, someone rubbed their finger. I saw it in the light. That was you. Bugger. So you didn't do it. You don't even know who did it.
I think it happened at work.
Yuck.
So now I'm parking very far.
Probably good to get the steps up anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I know you hated this, but this has been the easiest. This has nearly gone for 1 hour. It's been the easiest conversation. There's lots of, I know it is. I thank you for it. And as I said at the very start, there are things that you said that maybe don't have to be in this, but you gave a lot of yourself today, and I really appreciate that. And as a introvert like myself, it's not easy to do that. And there's a lot of people that will listen to this that are connected with TSS, not connected. I really hope your friends from school listen to it. I hope boys that you've taught in the past and currently listen to it, and their parents, because you just offer everything this school is. You know, great parent. You've brought 4 beautiful boys to this school. Price is just all in. Whether you like it or not, you're surrounded by TSS, sadly. Yeah, we're lucky to have you as well. And you work in a great team, Kate, but that team's great because they've got a good leader that allows everyone to play their role in that team. And I think that's where Peach's success comes from, is the strengths that people bring. You embrace them and don't knock people down, and you talk to everyone. There's no ego, and I love that. And there so easily could be when you have a room full of alpha males. They're all in their own way very competitive in whatever they do, and they need to be, I guess, managed in a particular way. And I don't know how you've done it. You sprinkle magic dust. It's a bit of a Craig Bellamy approach to teaching. You sprinkle some magic dust, and they work hard, and you have very high standards in that group. And it's not easy bringing those brand new kids into the school.
The Year 7 program is.
Yeah, it's very important.
That's amazing. Not everyone can teach Year 7, although they
100%.
very role, and
Yeah.
those people value that.
I totally agree with you. And intentionally on my part is trying to have at least a few voices in that room that are more primary trained and experienced than secondary, because that foundation is so important. And as you've learned over the years, the primary and secondary is very different, but there's also parts of it that are very, very similar. So I thank you for saying yes to come back. Thanks for bringing the boys through this school, because they've been incredible. And you're officially at 4:30 in the afternoon off the hook. Thank you. Appreciate it.